London, 1888, the most powerful city on earth, and one of the most brutal. 5 million people crammed into streets built for a fraction of that. Coal smoke so thick it blotted out the sun. And in the East End, a killer no one could catch was making it worse. This wasn't one city, it was two. Gaslit mansions a mile from open sewers. We reconstructed it using police reports, journalist accounts, and photographs taken right on these streets. In the next 8 minutes, you'll walk every layer of it, street by street. Stand at the edge of any major street in 1888 London and look up. The buildings tower above you. 4, 5, 6 stories of dark brick, blackened by years of coal smoke. Every surface is stained. Every wall carries the color of soot and rain. These are not grand buildings. Most of them are functional. Built fast. Built cheap. Built to house as many people as possible in as little space as possible. The streets themselves are narrow. Cobblestones line the ground, uneven and worn smooth by decades of iron wheels and leather boots. Horse-drawn carts move through these lanes constantly. The sound of hooves striking stone fills every hour of the day. Gas lamps stand at intervals along the pavement. At night, they cast a pale yellow glow across the wet stones below. The light does not travel far. Beyond each lamp, the darkness closes back in completely. The pavements are crowded. Market stalls press up against the walls of buildings. Vendors sell everything from hot pies to second-hand boots. Wooden crates stack high on street corners. Barrels of goods sit outside every shop front. Overhead, iron railings line the upper windows of terraced houses. Laundry hangs between buildings, strung across the narrow gap of sky above the street. Even the air above you is claimed and used. The city is organized in layers. The wealthy districts sit to the west. Wide streets. Cleaner stone. Private gardens behind iron gates. But move east and the streets tighten. The buildings lean closer together. The air grows heavier. In the East End, lanes become alleys. Alleys become courts. Courts become dead ends surrounded by crumbling walls and broken windows. Every street tells a story. The width of a road, the height of a building, the distance between lamp posts, all of it reveals exactly where you are in the social order of this city. This is how Victorian London was built. Layer upon layer. Street upon street. A city that grew faster than anyone could control. The city wakes before sunrise. By 4 in the morning, the streets are already moving. Factory workers pull on worn boots in cold, dark rooms. Mothers light small fires to boil water. Children as young as 8 prepare for a full day of work. There is no time to waste in 1888 London. Every hour without work is an hour without food. The working class makes up the vast majority of this city. They are the ones who keep London running. Dockers unload ships along the Thames before dawn. Costermongers push heavy carts loaded with vegetables through the streets. Seamstresses sit hunched over fabric in cramped back rooms, working by candlelight before the sun even rises. By 6 in the morning, the streets are at full noise. Street vendors line every major road. A penny buys a cup of hot coffee from a roadside stall. 2 pennies buy a handful of roasted chestnuts wrapped in old newspaper. The smell of fried fish and boiled potatoes drifts through the cold morning air. Work dominates every hour of the day. Factory shifts run 12 hours or longer. There are no weekends for most. Sunday offers a brief rest, but Monday arrives fast and unforgiving. The working class lives close to their work. A docker lives near the docks. A factory hand lives in the shadow of the factory chimney. Walking distance is everything. Nobody can afford to lose time traveling. Housing reflects this reality. Entire families share single rooms. A room measuring 12 feet across might hold a mother, a father, and 4 or 5 children. A single bed is shared. Meals are eaten on the floor. But despite all of this, there is life on these streets. Children play between cart wheels. Neighbors talk across open windows. Street musicians perform at busy corners for spare coins. There is humor, community, and resilience packed into every overcrowded lane. This is the working class of Victorian London. Exhausted, underpaid, and absolutely essential to every part of this city. In 1888 London, two completely different worlds exist within the same city. Walk west and the streets change immediately. The cobblestones are cleaner. The buildings are taller and more ornate. Stone columns frame grand doorways. Iron railings gleam with fresh black paint. Gas lamps burn brighter here because the city maintains them better. This is the London of the wealthy. Private carriages roll through wide, well-maintained streets. Footmen in uniform stand outside tall townhouses. Through the ground floor windows, you can see the warm glow of chandeliers. Inside, dining tables are set with silverware. Fires burn in every room. The smell here is of polished wood and candle wax. The wealthy do not walk these streets. They ride. They are carried. The pavement is for servants and tradespeople, not for them. Now walk east. Within minutes, everything changes. The streets narrow sharply. The buildings press together overhead. The smell hits you first. Rotting food. Unwashed bodies. Damp walls that never fully dry. The pavement disappears in places, replaced by bare mud packed hard by thousands of feet. Here, a single building houses dozens of families. Every floor is divided and subdivided. Rooms are rented by the week, sometimes by the night. Families who cannot afford a full room share space with strangers. A corner of a room costs money. Even a place on the floor has a price. Children here do not attend school. They work. They sell matches on street corners. They run errands for shop owners. They do whatever earns the next meal. The clothing marks the divide immediately. The wealthy wear layered wool coats, top hats, and polished leather shoes. The poor wear whatever can be found. Second-hand coats too large or too small. Boots with holes wrapped in rags against the cold. But both worlds exist within walking distance of each other. The factory owner and the factory worker. The carriage and the barefoot child. The chandelier and the tallow candle. Victorian London holds both realities at once, pressed together, separated by nothing more than a few streets and an enormous wall of wealth. When the sun sets in 1888 London, the city transforms. The gas lamps do their best. But they are too few and too weak. Between each pool of yellow light, the darkness is complete. Entire alleys sit in total blackness. Streets that were crowded and loud an hour ago are now silent and threatening. This is when the danger begins. Crime is a constant presence in Victorian London. Pickpockets work the busy market streets even in daylight. But after dark, the streets belong to a different kind of threat. Robbery is common. Assault is frequent. The police are spread too thin across too many streets to offer real protection. The East End carries the heaviest burden of this darkness. Whitechapel in 1888 is one of the most overcrowded districts in the entire city. Its streets are a maze of narrow lanes and hidden courts invisible from the main road. Lodging houses pack dozens of desperate people into single rooms each night. Gin shops stay open late, spilling noise and dim light onto the wet pavement outside. Poverty drives much of the crime here. A man with no work and no food makes desperate choices. A woman with no income and no protection has very few options. The streets reflect the pressure of lives pushed to their absolute limit. Disease moves through these streets like an invisible threat. Cholera outbreaks have already torn through the slums in previous decades. In 1888, typhoid and tuberculosis are constant dangers. A scratch that becomes infected can kill. A cold that settles in the lungs can end a life within weeks. The courts behind Whitechapel's main streets are the darkest places of all. These are small enclosed spaces surrounded by tall buildings that block all light. The ground is permanently damp. The walls are covered in green mold. Children play here because there is nowhere else to go. And in the autumn of 1888, these streets become the center of something that terrifies the entire city. The darkest corners of Whitechapel are now being watched by all of London. Fear has taken up permanent residence on these streets. London in 1888 is choking. Not slowly. Not quietly. The city is suffocating under the weight of its own rapid growth. And the evidence is visible on every street, in every breath, and in every river of filth running along the gutters. Start with the air. Coal is the fuel that powers everything in this city. Every factory chimney burns it continuously. Every fireplace in every home burns it through the night. By morning, the sky above London is not blue. It is a heavy grey-brown blanket of smoke and moisture that sits low over the rooftops and refuses to lift. This is the London fog. But it is not natural fog. It is a mixture of coal smoke and damp air that burns the throat and stings the eyes. Locals call it a pea souper. On the worst days, it is so thick that a person cannot see their own hand stretched out in front of them. Breathing this air every day causes serious damage. Lung disease is widespread across the working-class population. Factory workers, who spend 12 hours inside smoke-filled buildings and then walk home through coal-thick air, age rapidly. Many do not survive past their 40s. Now look at the streets themselves. Horse-drawn transport dominates every road in the city. Thousands of horses move through London daily. Each one produces significant waste. That waste accumulates on the cobblestones hour by hour. Street cleaners work constantly but cannot keep pace. The smell is permanent and overwhelming. Drainage is inadequate across most of the city. When it rains, the gutters overflow. Waste from the streets mixes with rainwater and flows into the same water sources that people use daily. The Thames itself is badly contaminated. The river carries the waste of millions of people. Its water is dark and foul-smelling along the banks. The smell rises into the surrounding streets on warm days and spreads through entire neighborhoods. And beneath the streets, the sewers are overloaded. The infrastructure of this city was built for far fewer people. London has grown too fast. The systems that should protect its population are failing under the pressure. The city is powerful. The city is magnificent. But the city is also slowly poisoning itself from the inside out. These streets are gone now. The dark cobblestone lanes of Whitechapel have been torn up and replaced. The crumbling lodging houses have been demolished. The gas lamps that cast pale yellow light across wet pavements have long been removed. The coal fog that sat heavy over every rooftop has cleared from the sky. But in 1888, this was real. Every detail reconstructed in this video existed. The blackened brick buildings pressing together over narrow streets. The market vendors shouting through thick morning fog. The factory workers disappearing into smoke-filled doorways before sunrise. The children playing in damp courts with no sunlight and no escape. This was not a city of monuments and grand gestures. It was a city of survival. The working class carried London on their backs. They unloaded its ships, stitched its clothing, swept its streets, and built its buildings. They lived in its darkest corners and breathed its most poisoned air. They received the least and contributed the most. The social divide that split this city was not hidden. It was visible in every street. In the width of a road. In the height of a ceiling. In the quality of a coat. Two worlds existed within walking distance of each other, and the distance between them was never crossed. The dangers of these streets were not exaggerated. Crime, disease, poverty, and darkness were daily realities for the majority of people living here. The autumn of 1888 only made visible what had always been present beneath the surface of this city. The fog, the filth, and the failing infrastructure were not temporary problems. They were the direct consequence of a city that grew faster than any system could manage. The price of that growth was paid in shortened lives and poisoned lungs. This reconstruction does not romanticize Victorian London. It reveals it. The gas lamps. The soot-covered walls. The overcrowded courts. The sharp divide between wealth and desperation. All of it existed on these streets, in this city, in this exact year. 1888 London was magnificent and brutal in equal measure. And now, for the first time, you have seen exactly how it looked.